Hello everyone and welcome back to the Ryan Retro channel. In today's video we're going to be taking a look at the Anbernic RG SP, and this is really exciting for me because I have never tried any kind of SP device in my life. I had the old Game Boy Advance, the purple one, like this. This is not the real original one, it's an Anbernic clone like this one, but I had the real Game Boy Advance like this back in the early 2000s, maybe even the late 90s whenever it released, and I adored this thing. This was my life, and to this day it's still my favorite handheld of all time. So when the Game Boy Advance SP got announced and I started seeing it pop up in magazines, TV adverts and things like that, I kind of saw it like a rival to my beloved Game Boy Advance, like it was telling me it's the better one of my baby, my pet. So I didn't really like it. Plus, it would have been impossible to convince my parents to buy a device that plays all the same games as the one I already have. That was never happening. So I've never tried one until now. Everyone says this thing is amazing, so let's check it out for the first time together. So let's take it out of the box and see what we've got inside. Okay, first of all, we've got what looks to be the SP itself in a kind of like a little dinner tray. Oh, delicious. Let's see what else we have. Okay, we've got some wipes in case you got a bit too excited about getting your SP. No, this is obviously for a screen protector. I guess in here will be, yes, a screen protector. Personally, I don't use them. You should use them. I think I would be responsible to say you probably should use one, but yeah, I don't use those. We have, a really cute little instruction manual. Let's have a look at this. That is not my language. There we go. So we have a nice little instruction manual, better than most other brands give. Plus point for Anbernic here. I'm of course not going to even look at that. We're going to see what else is in the box. This I assume is a, let me guess, this is a USB-C to A cable for slow charging. Just before I open it, what do you think is in here? I'll give you a second to guess. Let's see who's right. It's a USB-C to A cable for slow charging. Okay, let's get that little pudding cup back over here and take it out and see what we got. Here we have it, the Anbernic RG SP with a little bit of foam on top. There it is, you've got the Anbernic branding, which I believe on the original here it said Nintendo, because I think I've seen on Reddit some people making Nintendo stickers for these. Feels very plasticky, looks metal, but totally plastic device. Nice and light, feels small and pocketable. Before we open it up, you can see we've got a little HDMI port here. That's nice, we'll test that out. We've got the USB connector, of course, for power. OTG, so I guess we can put some USB storage in there. Got some little R1, L1, R2, L2 shoulder buttons. You can see the inset L2 and R2 are a little bit more raised than the lower L1 and R1. That's nice because you can easily feel which one is which when it's at the back of the device. I like that. Let's get it open up, check out the hinge and how it looks. Oh, it's very nice. Oh, you have to realize this is my first time in my life with an SP device. I know I'm really late to the party. I'm basically the last person on earth to try one. Oh, but this is lovely. Oh, I see why it's popular. It's light. Oh, it feels like one of those old flip phones that I used to have. I used to have this silver Samsung flip phone. It really reminded me of that kind of vibe. Just play some games and go to class. Okay, so we're going to have to check out the screen, which I heard is pretty decent, at least for GBA games. Let's get onto the button test. This is going to be one of the important parts for me because I have Anbernic's GBA clone and I don't really like these buttons. It's basically the reason I don't play this device. I like the shoulder buttons and the D-pad's good, but I don't like these face buttons. There's like too much travel that feels too mushy. It's just not a nice experience for me. So let's see how this compares. I'm worried it's going to be exactly the same. So here are the buttons and, oh, thankfully they are nicer. They have less spongy travel, a little bit more clicky, not a clicky button by any means, but less spongy than the ones on here. These are just absolute SpongeBob SquarePants and I can't get used to them. These are pretty decent. Let's feel the D-pad. Very clicky D-pad. One of those D-pads where as you move your finger around, you feel about 600 different little tactile clicks. Certainly no issues with this D-pad on first inspection. We'll have to see how it holds up in games, of course, but feels good, like I have decent control over the directions. Overall, these buttons feel better than I expected. Start and select are the clicky type. I expected spongy, I got clicky. The M button here, which should be the menu button, the Anbernic special button, you can see it's recessed inside the device, so you're not going to touch it accidentally. Overall, the button test is good. On the bottom, we have a headphone jack, hallelujah. On the left side of the device, we have volume up and down, also quite clicky, feel fine. And we have our SD card 1 slot, which does come with an included SD card. I chose the smallest one. So this is an unbranded 16 gigabyte SD card. Of course, with all these cheap devices, they give the absolute cheapest unbranded micro SD card. So you should immediately back this up to a reliable SD card instead. And I'll link in the description below some of the trustworthy ones I've been using for a long time. On the right side, we have a power button and a reset button, which again is small and recessed, so you won't press it accidentally. And we then have a second micro SD card slot. This is for if you want to use custom firmware. So I have prepared an SD card for this using a trustworthy SD card brand, SanDisk. On here I've put Next UI, which we're going to try out in this second slot. And because we keep the original stock SD card in the first slot, we're not going to risk ruining or losing the stock operating system if everything goes wrong, which it undoubtedly will. So let's now properly turn it on and see how it looks. Let's turn on the device now by holding the power button. We have the Anbernic logo on screen. Oh, I'm so excited for this. My first ever SP, a good 30 or so years after the original release. Finally, I have a clone. I did also notice we have a lanyard slot here as well. This would be quite a nice device to throw on a lanyard because it's super lightweight. So here we are inside the stock operating system, which looks exactly the one that came stock on this device, although I changed this one to MuOS, where everything is a kind of kitten because I don't know why. So we have game rooms. Is that meant to be ROMs? Game rooms, let's look at game rooms. No files, excellent. We have RetroArch game, no files, excellent. We have the App Center. My immediate impression of this, by the way, is it's very snappy. Everything is immediate. One of the snappiest stock operating system experiences I've had in a while. Let's see if I can turn down the brightness a bit, as it might be blowing out the camera. How would you do that? Menu, backlight brightness, aha! Level 4 is better for this camera. There we go. We have favorites, history, search, all the goodies we would want. So it seems what we need to do first is put some game rooms on this. I assumed it would come with some, but I guess the 16 gigabyte variant is just the operating system and nothing else. So let's shut it down, see you later. Let's take out the SD card, and I'll go fill this up with some game rooms. So here I am on my Mac, and the SD card has shown up in 2 volumes. There's one called Volumen, which has just, it seems, all of the files it needs to boot. It has a boot logo, so we'd probably be able to change this if we wanted to. Let me actually try that right now. I'm going to throw in this Ryan Retro logo and give it the bootlogo.bmp name. I'm going to just back this up on my desktop for now. We'll see how that goes. It might not work because it's not technically a BMP file. Then we also have the no name volume, which this is where you would put all of your ROMs, save files, etc. So I'm going to copy some ROMs over into these folders, and then we'll go back to the SP and see if they show up. Okay, I put some ROMs in the game rooms folder. Now let's put this SD card back in SD card slot 1. Let's turn it on and let's see if we can play some games now. So where was the power button? Over here. Let's see if we have a nice new welcome screen. It's not turning on. Oh, we have a kind of faint green light there. Oh, we have the Anbernic logo again. Boo. And here we are back on the handheld. Let's go to game rooms. Now you can see we've got a few. We've got PS1, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy. There was a Dreamcast folder and I added some Dreamcast games, but it seems that that's not a thing. Or maybe my file type was wrong. Let's just turn the volume down a bit and let's see. Oh, we have a very, very simplistic volume number up there. 7, 8, 5, 4. Simple, I like it. Let's start with Game Boy, I guess. And we've got one game, which is my favorite tennis game for Game Boy. Go. It loads up right away. We've got a little bezel going on. Not the best bezel configuration I've seen. Actually, probably the worst stock bezel configuration I've ever seen, because it has this stock bezel where the bezel itself is cut off. And even though there's a bezel here, we still have a border around the screen. I'm assuming this screen is integer scaled, and that's why it's not just stretched out to the full size. But it just looks a bit rubbish, doesn't it? Performance should be good. I mean, wait, it's lagging. It's lagging on Game Boy. This isn't smooth. What's wrong? Oh wow, this is not going well at all. I've never seen that ball look so laggy. Let's go, maybe just this one game has a problem. Let's go out of this. I assume we press the M button. Yeah, exit game. Okay, that's fine. Maybe I can change some of the settings. Video display effect, fast. Video display aspect, full screen. And we can set the backlight brightness of a particular game. Oh, that's quite good. Right, let's go back to the game. Let's restart the game. Full screen, stretched out. Let's just see if I can get a smoother experience. No, it's still choppy looking. I mean, let me show you a comparison about what it should look like. If I bring out my Retro Pocket Nova here, obviously unfair comparison, far more expensive device. But let me just show you what the experience should be like here. If I just come to my Game Boy games and have a little look down my tower of Game Boy games. Oh, sorry for the current intermission, but I ordered a coffee and they brought the wrong order. They brought me this massive Americano and this chocolate bread, which is not what I ordered. But because it's wrong, they're just gonna let me keep this for free and then bring me my coffee and then also give me like £2 as a sorry. Excellent. Okay, where was I? Okay, so let's look at these two side by side and you'll see how smooth the ball is here. It's totally smooth. Let's put them side by side and see the difference in the flight of the ball. So as I hit the ball, hopefully you can see the difference. I realize that this video is being shot in 30 frames per second, not 60, or my camera overheats, but hopefully you can see the difference in the smoothness of the ball. And this is not smooth because it's an expensive device. Any cheap device should be able to play an old Game Boy game this smooth. But this one is just lagging out. I mean, I guess someone in the comments can tell me what's going wrong here, but the stock experience should not have any lag on Game Boy. I mean, you could say I've not dialed any settings in yet, but I'm not expecting to be dialing in Game Boy. We'll see how it goes. Let's go back to the menu. Let's try another game to see if it was just that game that was a problem or if everything's just messed up. So let's try Game Boy Advance. I just put my usual Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh games I usually play through on here. Let's just start Pokemon Ruby because I've played it a billion times. I completed it recently, but I still keep starting it again. Let's see if we have any shortcuts to speed up. It doesn't seem like it. Maybe I can go into the menu. Let's consult the manual. Menu plus R2 is fast forward. I'm pretty sure I tried that. Menu and R2. Let's exit out of the game, and instead of game rooms, let's come into RetroArch game. Oh, and here we actually can see Dreamcast. Let's try to launch through RetroArch and see if we get a better experience. Maybe it was launching through something weird before. So let's go back to that tennis game. Oh, we have a different overlay this time, which fits much nicer. We also have the, I think this is the Super Game Boy Color style. Now it's running smoothly. This is running totally fine. So that makes me question, what on earth are they doing in the regular game room setting? Why is that even a thing when it can run perfectly in RetroArch? This is running great. This is exactly how I'd expect it to work. So I'm just really confused now. Let's see if we can come into RetroArch settings. Yes, we can. Core options, Game Boy colorization, and let's set it to Game Boy Color. That's better. That's how I remember playing this game on my Game Boy Color back in the, gosh, late 90s. This looks great. You can see the overlay fits properly. It runs smoothly just like it should. I really don't understand why this is not the default on the system. This is great. So let's back out of this, and now I'm expecting other games should work fine. Now let's try Pokemon Ruby. This device is made for Game Boy Advance games, of course, being a Game Boy Advance SP clone. So Game Boy Advance games do fit the screen perfectly. No need for any bezels around the edges, and it has a kind of Game Boy Advance style shader on it. This is beautiful. I'm not sure if the camera is going to be able to show how gorgeous this looks, but this looks really, really good. Already I'm seeing this being a great Game Boy Advance machine. And Game Boy Advance is my most played system. Let's see if I can now use the menu plus R2 shortcut. Yes, I can, great. We've also got X and Y being A and B turbo buttons like we usually expect in RetroArch. So instead of having to press A, you can just hold down one of these buttons. And it's just a really easy way to get through all of this dialogue at the start of a game. Or I'm going to say immediately, my first impression, Game Boy Advance looks incredible. It's also very comfortable too, because it's really lightweight, which makes it really comfortable to hold, feels nice. I assume I can just close the screen anytime. Let's see if it goes to sleep or not. I'm going to assume no. Screen's closed. I can still see the green light on the side. Let's open it back up. Peekaboo. Oh, the screen does go off when closed. You can see here if I open it up very slowly, the screen is off and then comes on. It's quite quick, but you'll see the screen is black and then suddenly turns on. So I'm very curious to test the battery life on this. My plan is to just never press the power button, only flip it closed and see how long it lasts. Hello? Maybe we need to leave the lid closed for more than a second. There we go. So let's listen to the speakers, see how they sound. I guess we have to turn off turbo mode to hear the sound. There we go. Seems like this is one big speaker right in the middle. Nice. It sounds pretty good. Pretty loud. Not the best sound, but sounds fine. Let's just quickly get into a battle and choose a Pokemon. What are we going to go for? always Mudkip. Yeah, this looks great. The fast forward speed is not super fast because this is obviously not the most powerful device. Again, if I use a more powerful device like the Retro Pocket Nova, you'll see the power come into play here. Here we have a much faster fast forward mode. It's ridiculous. It's actually hard to control. But these kind of things can all be changed in the settings. We can speed things up and down. And of course, once again, this is not meant to compete with the Nova. The Nova's far more expensive. It's just that the Nova's been the device I'm using lately for all of my Game Boy Advance gaming. So for me, it's the obvious thing to compare to because it's the new thing versus the thing I'm actually using. But I have to say, this is a lovely little tiny, compact Game Boy Advance machine that doesn't break the bank. So let's just lay down a save file. In fact, let's see if we have a shortcut for save files. We should do. Save state, menu and R1, and then load up the state, menu and L1. Okay, let's give that a go. Menu and R1, saved state, nice. And then if we run forward a little bit, menu and L1, back to the save, lovely. Quit the game, menu and start, nice. I never usually look at instruction manuals, but at least learning these shortcuts will be super useful for having a nice fluid experience with a device like this. So let's now try something a little bit more tricky, like PlayStation. Let's jump into a new game of Grand Theft Auto, and I'm suddenly filled with confidence after switching to RetroArch. When I was previously using the game rooms, that was dreadful, but RetroArch seems to be pretty good. Got some little bezels here of a PlayStation controller and an extremely tiny snippet of a PlayStation. Interesting. Again, let's go into fast forward mode to get into a game. There we go, nice and easy. Lay down a save state, nice and easy. Let's drive. Oh, sounds great. I'm not sure the performance is perfectly smooth. The performance is decent, but it does feel, I would say, about 90% of the way there. It doesn't feel as smooth as, for example, my Miyoo Mini does. May need to tinker with things a little bit. So I've just turned on the FPS counter at the top right-hand side of the screen, and it says we're at a solid 60 frames per second. So maybe my eyes are just getting old, but it does feel less fluid than I'm used to on other devices. I'm not sure I fully trust that frame per second counter. Maybe that's the refresh rate of the screen, but not the actual game. It's running acceptably, especially for a little pocketable SP like this, but I expected it to be a little bit more fluid feeling. Let's move on to Dreamcast, which is all 3D, so it should be more difficult to run. Let's start with Crazy Taxi. That's usually a pretty easy Dreamcast game to play. We've got those cropped bezels on the side again, which are just completely cut off the ends. Also, we've been taken into the Dreamcast menu rather than the game, which is a bad sign. Please insert game disc. Let's try my other game then, Virtua Tennis 2. This is not loading either. My games are in .chd files, chads as I like to call them. You can also get Dreamcast games in bin and Q files, so maybe this device is expecting that format. Anyway, not working well so far. This is a device that's not as easy to set up as I hoped, but I do think it's going to be great once I do get it set up because it feels lovely. So far, not a great first impression for the GBA SP. I do think it has potential, but not super easy to get working. Let's see if I have any music or videos. Oh, I do have an RG SP MP4 file. Got a history here of SP devices. Stickless for pure nostalgia. So it's basically just the marketing material for this handheld. Well, as you can see, you can watch videos on this if you'd like to. Looks fine to me. Back out of there, and let's see if we have any music. Okay, that app was quite difficult to get out of. We have hotelcalifornia.flac. Do not tell me that's the actual song. It seems like we might be able to play music in the background while playing games. That would be pretty nice. Ebooks. We have an ebook called ebook. Nope, it's empty. I guess the app is called ebook. We've got a file manager. We've got a thing called Expert, which is seemingly another file manager. We've got some apps for modifying the bezels and other things like that. PDF browser. Instruction manual of the game downloader. Oh, I'm not sure I can show this. Wow, it's literally instructions of a website to go to just download loads of games to this device. Bit sketchy. We then have a thing called Willy Willy. I dread to even look at that. Oh my god! I think it's just a Billy Billy application. So first impressions of the RG SP. Out of the box experience is not good. Maybe if you get one of the bigger SD cards that comes loaded with loads of games, you're just going to be away to the races. But if you buy the 16GB version like me, the out-of-the-box experience is poor. The game rooms here just lag even on Game Boy. All the overlays are cut off. It's dreadful. RetroArch games seem pretty good. PlayStation performance didn't feel fluid to me, but Game Boy Advance and Game Boy are totally fine out of the box, and I think you're mostly buying this for Game Boy Advance, to be honest. That looks really good. Other things on here are just superfluous. You don't really need to watch videos or listen to music on here. Of course you can if you want to, because it does have a headphone jack, so you know, go wild. Overall, not the best first impression. I'm going to go away and set up Next UI or another custom operating system because I do think it needs it. I think this one is very bare bones and just kind of not great, to put it nicely. But I'm definitely going to go away, come back after I learn more about it and do a full review when I fully understand everything, because I do think it has a lot of potential. I've seen a lot of other reviewers really glazing this thing as being amazing. First impressions is I'm not seeing it yet, but let's hopefully see it later. I will test out the HDMI output as well. I was going to do that in today's video, but with everything just performing so poorly, I think I really need to go away, get more used to it, try it more, and then come back to you guys with the full review, including taking it out on a little vlog, the girlfriend test, and all that goodness. So thank you for watching. I hope it was helpful. If it was, please give me a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you to all my lovely Patreons on screen right now. You guys are amazing. If you'd like to join them, check out the Patreon link below, and I hope you have a lovely day. Thanks so much for watching, and I'm sure it won't be long before we're saying hello again. This is free!